take a seat, because this story is terrifying. The story of a house inhabited by very powerful female ghosts. You're not going to want to miss this. And by the way, I did a long version of the story on YouTube, so if you haven't seen that, you can go watch it. But if you're just a TikTok fan, this is for you. It's the early 2000s in Greencastle, Indiana. And this man right here, Guy Winters, got word of a very terrifying house. His friend told him that they were there and they saw an apparition float through the wall. So Guy grabbed his gear and that night they went to the house. It was this long drive down these back roads. This house is completely in the middle of nowhere. And when they pulled up, Guy was completely amazed because this house is huge and it's from the 1800s and already it feels like he's being watched. Guy's fear is growing and growing. It is pitch black around them. Not only that, but now lightning is starting to strike everywhere. So they walk in the front door. And already Guy notices this strange feeling like he's never felt before. Something is in this house. And as he walks deeper, he begins to hear a thumping. And this thumping starts getting louder and louder. So he checks his heartbeat because he's thinking maybe that's my heart. But his heart rate was off rhythm and it was also not as strong as this thumping. This thumping was so loud that now it is shaking his entire body. And then suddenly a chill runs up his spine. The air around him runs cold. Guy is completely frozen. He's standing in place, his arms crossed in, and he just cannot move because he can feel something approaching him. The exact same feeling as when you're paralyzed in a dream with fear. Guy began to realize that this presence was some sort of female. Something that wanted him to know it was right there. And as this energy creeps forward and gets right in front of his face, he feels it melt inside of his body. As his intestines become cold, he takes off running and flies out the front door. And standing in the front yard is his friend. And his friend looks over at him and he's like, "Guy, your head is glowing." And Guy had this pink light coming out of his head. So then his friend picks up his camera and begins to take pictures of the house. This is what he captured. Capturing the female presence that had melted into Guy's body. Some of the coolest ghost pictures I've ever seen. So the next day, Guy brought all of this evidence to a news station. They did a big story, and this lady comes forward, and she was like, "My parents built that house." So she pulls out this box, and she shows all of her family pictures, and they compare the ghost pictures and the family pictures side by side. They notice that they're very similar. Eerily similar. And the story on this house just absolutely blew up. And it got so big that eventually the owners just tore the house down because everyone was running over to the house trying to see the ghost. And Guy would say he felt extremely guilty because he's the reason that there was even a story. And to now, the ghost doesn't have a house. He would visit the rubble and take pictures, and there are still apparitions in his pictures. This is why you don't go visiting 18th century houses. You never know what's inside. And I have a suspicion that maybe that wasn't her parents. Maybe it was something evil.